Hi, I'm Billy Talley, Director of Vehicle Integration at Fisker Automotive. Today we're going to take you through some of the finer points of the Karma, how to drive it, some of the areas that you might not know about when you get your car, and take you through some of the little nuances and some of the finer aspects. So, let's hop on in and start to learn. Today we're going to kind of go through on the basic functions of the Karma, how to get in, start up, just some of the little nuances on the car that's going to make your experience a lot nicer. Once you get in the car, first thing you're going to do, hit the ever button. That's going to bring up the system. The ever button is actually your main start and stop button for the vehicle. You'll notice all your different screens come up on the command center, and the first thing you're going to do is go down and push the agree button. Now, you don't want to be hitting the agree button several different times. Once you hit the agree, it takes a few seconds for the full system to boot up, and your rest of your screens will start coming up then. And at this time, you're actually ready to engage the car and go. We're up and powered up and running now. The high voltage batteries are online, and we're getting ready to move. One of the first things you're going to need to do is put your foot on the brake, go to the brake release button, which works like a window toggle switch, and push it forward. Pushing it forward will release the brake, and you'll see your little parking brake indicator will go off. If you want to re-engage the parking brake with your foot on the brake pedal, you pull it back like raising a window. And this way you'll see your park brake applied will come up in your center screen. Now, once you've got your park brake released, you're going to notice that all your other power systems have come up. You've had ready come up in your center screen, so you know you're powered up and ready to go. So, last step, with your foot on the brake, press D on your Prindle. That puts you in forward drive. You're ready to go. Just take your foot off the brake and you're going to feel the coast torque start to take off smoothly. So now we're up and running with the Karma. At the moment we're heading down the freeway. The beauty of the Karma is the Karma EVER, which stands for Electric Vehicle Extended Range. And because of this, you don't have to worry about finding a charge station. You literally can just drive like a normal car if you'd like to. There's no real issues with having to go out in the morning and make sure that the charger worked or anything else. That's always the greatest way to drive your car with a full battery charge, but it's not how you have to. You're going to get on the center screen, it's going to come up with what your complete battery level is on the top, which will be upwards of 50 miles if you have a full battery charge. And then the bottom number is going to give you your total range, which is going to be what you have for what's fuel in your gas tank and the range you have on the battery. So this will give you upwards of around 300 total miles. And as you drive the car, you're going to learn that there's actually many different type ways you can drive it.
One of the beauties of the Karma is that you've got a lot of choices. If you can plug in every night and keep your 50-mile charge going, you're going to go a lot of times where you're really only filling up maybe once a month or even less. One of the other really nice things though is that you do have your own choice. If you need to go on long trips, you have your gas engine. It'll work just like a normal car. You'll get very good gas mileage for what you're doing, and you don't have to worry about having to find a plug every night. That really is one of the very much enjoyable parts of the car, is that you do have true range freedom.
So now we're cruising down the freeway. We're in sport mode. And one of the nice things about sport mode is when you're on a nice flat level ground like this, cruising, not a lot of stoplights or anything, you're really, really efficient at keeping that battery charge up.
When you're driving in sport mode, one of the really nice things is you've got great performance. You've got up to 125 miles an hour speed. But the other lovely thing is, this is your other big choice, is that you can pull it into sport mode and save your electric power for when you're in the city centers and in the urban stop and go traffic. Sport mode is what it's really designed around is it will always keep your charge at where you pulled it in at. So if you've got 15 miles left, you've been driving in stealth, you're going to be going down the freeway for a while, but you want to make sure you've got a good city drive, you pull it back in sport. It's going to hold that 15 miles till you get into town. Then you've still got 15 miles of good electric range. So that's one of the very nice things and one of the other lovely parts that we've done on Karma to give you those choices on how you drive it.
So right now we're just cruising along in sport, keeping our battery charge up, being ready to get into the city. One of the other areas that you might also notice in the vehicle is we are a pure series hybrid. We're the only one on the market that way. And because of this, we have no mechanical connection between the engine and your driveline. So sometimes some of the things you might hear the engine actually running a little bit higher RPM than you would normally expect. This is quite normal for the way the vehicle is functioning. And what we're doing at that time is the generator is finding some of its most efficient areas to run, which isn't always the exact same type RPM that you'd be used to in a normal type car. But since we're not hooked to the wheels, we can actually make the engine and the generator run in different areas and stay as efficient as possible. We're in stealth mode now. We're driving in city traffic. We're at stoplights, a lot of stop and go. This is really one of your best times for using stealth and really, really works well so far as fuel efficiency and just how the vehicle works and just keeping the best for all your economies. You're gonna notice that we have no real transmission or extra gears. We're pretty much a direct drive with the two electric motors right on the differential. And you have over 900 foot-pounds of torque at hand. So taking off from a stoplight, doing any of the other, it's just a breeze. You roll on the throttle, you have instant torque, and the car just goes and moves. It really makes an enjoyable drive. You'll notice there's no shifting, so it's very, very fluid. It's a little bit different feeling than a lot of other cars have. And it's one of the areas where sometimes you don't realize just how fast you've actually accelerated to because you haven't had a shift point. So watch your speedo. The sound you'll hear when you're driving in stealth is our pedestrian alert system. We have that system on there to alert pedestrians that the car is in the vicinity, it's moving, it's running, because it's virtually silent. You'll notice that as you pull away, it actually gets a little louder. So we want to make sure that they know the vehicle is moving and everything else, and we're alerting them to the fact. And in the city centers and everything, it makes it quite nice. You'll be able to hear the car, pedestrians will be able to hear the car, and you'll be able to make sure that they know you're coming.
When you're going into hill mode, which is the right-hand switch or paddle on the steering wheel, you're going to notice that when you pull it back in, the D in your left-hand cluster is going to go to 1 for the first time. And that's the first level of hill mode, and that gives you a little bit more regenerative braking without actually having to put the brakes on. Now, if you need a little bit more regenerative braking, which is going to hold the vehicle at a steady state going down a large hill, you pull it back one more time on the paddle switch, and you're going to go into 2. You'll see that actually also come up on your dash. And those are the 2 different levels of hill mode we have. You pull it back one more time, and it brings you back into drive and normal regenerative braking for coasting.
So now you're ready to fill up with gas. You've driven a lot. Hopefully you've been using a lot of battery charging. You're charging a car up at night. So this is few and far between for you. So what you're going to be able to do is you pull in, put it in park, put your emergency brake on, power the car down, and over here, over by your left knee is your other switches, which has your trunk and your fuel door switch. Once you power everything down, you push in the fuel switch. When you press your fuel door, you're going to notice it doesn't open all at once. We use a pressurized fuel system. So until the tank is vented, we won't allow the gas door to open up. So once you press it, it's going to take a few seconds and then you'll actually hear it pop. One thing you'll notice is that the cap does not pop open quite a bit. And that's normal. You just want to pull it open. You don't want to push it back in because you'll just relock the system. You have a hook on this side where you can put your lanyard to hold your gas cap so you don't scratch any of the vehicle. One thing to remember about your Karma, while it is an EV car, it is high performance with a high performance engine. So always make sure you're using premium fuel when you fill it up.
Hopefully you've been able to charge your car and keep it up on a good battery charge every night. And what you're going to find then is these visits to the gas station are very few and far between. After refueling, you're going to notice that the engine starts. This is if you're in either stealth or sport mode. This is normal, and it's just meant to purge any of the extra vapors that were still in the system back through the engine. So we keep a very, very clean evaporative emissions signature for this car.
Now we're going to get into an area with the Karma. A lot of people really might not be thinking that an electric vehicle is going to be as good as it is. In the canyons, we have a very low center of gravity. We have all our weight placed between the wheels, and we really went to a lot of effort to make sure we have a very, very stable neutral platform. Handling on the car is absolutely magnificent. Turn in is quick and precise with just very, very little tones of understeer. You'll be amazed at just what this vehicle will do. Even though it is a large sports luxury, through the corners and the canyons, it really is a fantastic drive. And this is one of the areas that, if you get the chance, you'll really enjoy your car. You can do a lot of different things. As you're going through corners like this, one of the things that people that are used to using a manual could do is, you can put it in hill mode. And by doing hill mode, what you'll be able to do is, you get a little bit more coast down braking, like doing a little bit of a downshift on an engine. And that lets it drag itself into the corner a little bit more. So when you let off the throttle, you get a little bit more slowdown. People that are used to manual transmissions might enjoy this even a little bit more than the normal drive mode. And it is one of the things for performance type drivers where you'll find it is quite a bit of fun. You can actually use the paddles like a regular transmission for a downshift and slow down a little more.
The paddle switches are located on the steering wheel and help you to toggle between the driving characteristics of the Karma. The paddle switch on the left is how you toggle between sport and stealth. And just by pulling it back, you'll see it changes up on the dash between the sport and stealth to let you know what mode you're in. The paddle switch on the right is what does your hill modes. And this operation, as you pull back, you'll see comes up on the left-hand cluster in the speedo, and it will replace the D for drive with either 1 or 2 for which area of regeneration you're into.
But if you don't want to, just leave it in drive and enjoy yourself. It's got great brakes, handling is precise, cornering power is absolutely unbelievable, and transitions through the twisties is absolutely amazing. You get very little roll and very little pitch under both cornering and braking, and that makes for a very, very great driving experience through any of the tight twisties or any other canyon or fun roads that you can find.